evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So tonight's Board of Education meeting will be conducted in two parts. The first part is the reorganization meeting. The second part is the regular business meeting. So at this time, I would like to introduce Mary Ann Sadowski, District Attorney, to administer the first two oaths of office. First, Mike Schindler, Board Trustees. And now to the newly elected board member, James Ricord. Congratulations. At this time, we will have the elections for President and Vice President of the Board of Education. So we start with the President. May I have a nomination for Board President?
I nominate Nancy Castrogiovanni.
May I have a second to that nomination?
Second.
It is my pleasure to declare that Ms. Castrogiovanni has been elected as Board President. Now we have Ms. Sadowski administer the oath of office to the President.
Raise your right hand. I solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as Board President of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Vice President, may I have a nomination for Board Vice President?
I nominate Mary Ann Santos.
May I have a second to the nomination? Second. It is my pleasure to declare that Ms. Santos has been elected as Board Vice President. At this time, I would like Ms. Sadowski to administer the oath of office to the Vice President. No? Hold on. All in favor? You do all in favor?
We have a motion and a second. Roll, please.
Okay. So do I have a second? We did second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I can declare. That's why I'm not a board president or vice president. But do a better job as a superintendent. Now we administer the oath of office. There we go.
I solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as Vice President of the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District according to the best of my ability.
So congratulations to Ms. Castrogiovanni and Ms. Santos and Ms. Kowalski. Thank you for all your help over the past 5 years. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I will miss you. And those are the... So at this time, I'd like to turn the meeting to our board president, Ms. Castro Giovanni.
Moving to appointment of officers, Dr. Young?
Yes, we have, at this point, you are going to nomination, appointment of officers. Four or one.
Thank you. Okay, appointment of officers. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the appointment of the officers as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Are we administering the oath? Yes. Yep. Don't we have to also swear in the student? The student? We're going to do that next? Okay. We will now be swearing in our, our student Board of Education member, Giovanna Lisa. Thank you and welcome to the Board of Education. Next, we will be swearing in our acting district clerk. We will now be swearing in the district treasurer. Thank you. Now we will move on to the approval of other appointments. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following appointments as listed in their, hereby approves the following appointments as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. But they don't have to be sworn in. Okay. I'll now move on to section 6. Approval of designations. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of School, The Board of Education hereby approves the following designations as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And I believe that is the end of our reorganization meeting. Thank you all. Now we'll move on to our business agenda. We've had our Pledge of Allegiance. So I will now move on to correspondence.
All correspondence has been responded to since the last meeting.
Thank you very much, Ms. Santos. And now I'd like to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Yanni?
Thank you, Ms. Castro Giovanni. You want to, Nancy, you want to turn it off? Good evening, everybody. First, welcome to Mr. James Ricard to your first board meeting. My entire team is very excited to work with you and the entire board to help our students become the best they can be. So, welcome on the board. This year is a very special year for Oyster Bay since we have a newly elected student representative to the Board of Education. Giovanna Lisa is a mature young woman who consistently demonstrates integrity and compassion. As a dedicated member of the Student Council, she's a poet. She read a wonderful poem the other night, one of the celebrations that we had. Members of the Honor Society, Giovanna consistently lead by example. She's a talented musician, participated in both the wind and jazz ensembles. She excels academically while taking multiple AP courses. Giovanna, sometimes I don't know if your day is longer than 24 hours, but Giovanna is excited to embrace this new role, eager to effectively communicate the happenings that are taking place at the high school and all our schools. And we want to welcome you to the board. Looking forward to have you every board meeting. And I know we have a lot of great ideas. We had a meeting, so I truly look forward to that. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful summer. Tonight is also a special meeting, and I know the board will act on my recommendation. But we have several people on the audience that I want to welcome. I won't congratulate them. I will congratulate them at the end. So I'm going to start with our new assistant principal at the high school, Dr. Stephanie Contreras. Welcome. We also have our secondary curriculum associate, Kimberly Corbo. Our teacher of world languages, French and Spanish, Danielle Villanueva. We have elementary teacher, grade 1, Beth Gardner. Beth. And our new school psychologist, Megan Allen. Here. And we also have a school psychologist, Dr. Maria Batas. I want to wish the entire community a wonderful summer. We had a beautiful graduation on Saturday. Was inside, but it was great. The ceremony was outstanding. So I want to thank the entire high school staff, Ms. Argaman, Mr. Perdue, Mr. Locastro, and the entire team. We had a wonderful time, and we're going to miss our seniors, but congratulations to all of them. So now at this point, let me turn the microphone to Ms. Raynor, our Deputy Superintendent, for the public hearing for the district-wide safety plan.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. This evening, we're going to conduct a public hearing for the district-wide safety plan. We're going to open for the public Board of Education comments. Before I discuss the plan, I just want to provide an update on the safety committee. The current team reviewed the current safety plan in the draft of the 25-26 school year. The plan includes a comprehensive planning efforts, addresses prevention, mitigation, protection, response, and recovery with respect to a variety of emergencies that may occur within our district. I'd like to thank the Nassau County BOCES Health and Safety Team for always providing their support, including a vast amount of resources and guidance for our district, as well as our law enforcement that attend our meetings, and our head custodians, our principals, as well as our teachers and mental health support that we have on there as well. One important part I'd like to discuss is the 5 potential plans that do address our district's standard response protocol. Staff and students do conduct these drills. In addition, this year we have updated our guide for parents, which is a brief 6-page document that will be posted online immediately after this meeting that discuss what the 5 different protocols could be. Hold, where you're held in your classroom area; a secure lockout, which is getting inside and locking outside doors; a lockdown, which is you're locking lights when you're out of sight; an evacuation to a specific location; a shelter, which has to do with usually a hazard or safety weather-related type incident. So all of these are defined so everyone from parents to staff to students know how to react in a situation like this. As I always remind, that these protocols as a district-wide level are very vague. Specifics to these safety protocols are only discussed with the confidential building level safety teams and building level safety plans, which for apparent reasons are not open to the public. The safety plan is available on tonight's agenda through board docs, as well as after tonight's hearing. The plan will be posted on the district website under the Parents and Students tab, Safety and Security. The plan will be available for public review and any comments for the next 30 days. The board will then have an opportunity to take action on it during the August Board of Education meeting to be in compliance, submitted to New York State by the October 1st deadline. Again, just as a reminder, this is only a district plan, which is public information. All the building plans are confidential at the level which is hosted by the principal of each building. Any questions from the board? Great, thank you very much.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Of the minutes, a motion to approve our meeting minutes as listed and attached below. Do I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to opportunity for the public to be heard on agenda items. In accordance with the open meeting law, the school board meetings where school district business will be discussed are open to the public. The Oyster Bay East Norwich Board of Education welcomes public comment at its meetings. The Board of Education will respond to comments and/or inquiries in the appropriate manner. This portion of the meeting is designed exclusively for agenda items. A sign-in book is provided for those residents wishing to address the board. In order to be recognized, you must be signed in. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes. The board president will call you to the microphone in the order in which you have signed in. A public discussion is prohibited regarding matters relating to an individual's reputation, privacy, or the right to due process, which in some way could be violated. A second commentary period is provided for non-agenda items prior to adjournment. We thank you for your participation and cooperation. We have had one person sign in, Ms. Anne-Marie Longo.
Good evening. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I see that we've assigned a groundskeeper. So does that mean you've gotten a response from civil service in regards to what the process the board has done in May? Yeah. We get a
We
response?
received approval to hire 2 groundskeepers,
So you've got an
2
official.
additional groundskeepers.
So you've gotten an official response recently since last week from civil service?
Yes, the day after the board meeting, unfortunately.
The day after the board
Yeah,
meeting?
yes.
And that was the first and only correspondence you received from civil service regarding this matter?
I'd rather have the entire question, so we're not going back
That's
and
it.
forth. Right.
That's the entire question. I'm clarifying, asking you to clarify your statement. So yes,
We
that was,
received- Go ahead.
that was it? That was the only correspondence you've received?
No, we received many correspondences. The day after the board meeting, we received approval to hire 2 groundskeepers.
Okay, dated the day
Thank
after last board meeting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And be the first to welcome and congratulate. Congratulations to all of you. We'll now move on to non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We will now move on to business items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the business items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to special services. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will now move on to items for discussion. The proposed NYSSBA resolutions. Does anyone have any comments or thoughts regarding the resolutions that were proposed for the New York State School Board Association?
Well, the recess one was the first one that was brought up. And that was brought up by the New York State Board on the prior resolutions, and it failed. I think the issue is that there's very limited time in the student's day. So I don't know if anybody else has any sort of issue or concern with the recess proposal.
So the proposal is that they would like to include recess time as counted as instructional time for the students.
Yes.
And that resolution did not pass in the past. I'm not sure if anybody has any thoughts or comments on that.
I wanted to comment that the rationale that they supplied didn't seem to indicate how that would benefit students. So because I'm unclear about that rationale, I don't think I would be supportive of the resolution.
I agree with you. I agree with you. The rationale just talked about the benefits of, exercise and time away from school, from classroom and fresh air, but didn't really understand how it would benefit the children and having it count towards their instructional time.
I just think we have such limited instructional time as it is. And it's hard, particularly in high school, to fit in enough courses for children to have lunch, that I think I'd much prefer them to have lunch than recess time.
Any other comments or discussion related to the resolutions? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to public participation on non-agenda items. And we've had one person sign in, Ms. Anne Marie Longo. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Ms. Longo? Yeah.
No, that's not, I don't think,
This, Henry Longo?
no.
Right.
She's on non-agenda.
Oh, so we should do this one first?
Yeah, if there's somebody else for agenda items.
Ms. Longo? Ms. Longo, ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm just back to the bond. Did we get a finalization on the bond that we were selling?
So the last time, the bond that we bought was at 3.4%.
Okay, and that was for $25 million? 25,
That was for the,
it said in what it said in the documents,
yes,
from what I saw from the bond company, was a little over $25 million. So,
it was 20, the bond was for 25.
right,
The total was, and I'm giving you the overall.
roundabout,
Yeah.
right?
25
Right.
was the bond that we got,
Right.
that we bought. 27 million was the total, and the 2 millions that we had done before, so total 27.
So the
25
$2 million that you have before is so
bands.
is bands, but don't you have to turn bands into bonds when the completion of the work?
We had to pay off, the 2 million was paid. Yes, the $2 million that we had in bands, we pay all the principal, so that was paid.
So you
by
don't
the-
have to bond that, we paid that. How did we pay $2 million?
We
Where
pay
did
all
we
the
get that
principal.
money from?
It was, it was appropriated in our budget.
So we appropriate, instead of, we floated a bond proposition for 29 million. We were stated that we came 2 million underneath it.
Actually, more than two, but,
Okay, two,
yeah.
2.5, whatever. Then that makes it 27, and we floated a bond for 25, which brings us to the $2.1 million a year in payment for 14 years. Where did the $2 million come from?
So we
That's the
received,
annual debt service, right, Maureen?
we
so-
received approval from the community of 29 and change.
Yep,
Okay. So we were allowed to spend that amount of money.
yep.
Okay. So then we paid $2 million for bands.
In bands, which is a loan that the
Yeah, whatever,
community
yeah.
approves for and pays back, right? Got it?
Yeah. So we paid the 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
So we're left with 25, and we
Right.
bought bond for 25.
But you still have to make a band a bond. It has to become a
Okay.
bond.
Right.
Can Maureen, you want to clear it? Yeah.
So I just want to clarify your question. You're asking about the expense side of the budget and how it's being funded?
Yeah, because
Okay,
we were
prior-
supposed to, go on.
Prior to the bond referendum, the district had a debt service expense line on the budget of about $2.2, $2.3 million each year, paying off old debt. So the new bond referendum came in the form of bands for a few years and now bonds. The concept that Dr. Yanni presented 4 years ago was to have a steady debt service for the district. So we've maintained paying a principal pay down on our bands to make sure we've maintained that expense line of the budget of $2.2 million. Now we have bonded, which has now put all of those past years at still the 2.2. Now we are locked in at an expense of $2.1 million for the next 14 years. So we have maintained a steady debt service expense to the budget of $2.1 million.
I understand that, but we had a bond referendum down to $27 million. Where did the money to pay $2 million in bands come from?
Wait,
Okay,
let me,
can I
can I
just answer
just
the
back it up a
question?
second? Okay.
Sorry.
So when you're so at the time that the last bond paid off, during that period, we issued bond anticipation notes. The bond anticipation notes, the following year after the old debt was paid off, had a principal payment due. So we paid, we matched the principal payments of the band to the bonds that paid off. so that the following year, when we would have had no debt service payment, we paid the band down of $2 and change million.
I understand that. You've said that
Right.
3 times. Where did you get the $2.1 million to pay the bands off, if we hadn't floated the bond yet? Did you get it from reserves?
Can I just say something? We had a bond, right? I think it's important that, from my perspective, right, I'm not gonna able to answer the question because I tried, right? So, but what I want the community to understand is that we had a vote, and the community approved $29 million worth of work. That was turf, was at the high school, was at Vernon, was at Roosevelt, that allowed us to get an extension to the building that, for the first time, we have 4 UPK classes that the community can benefit from. We had a beautiful innovation lab, we have a beautiful turf, we have a beautiful music wing, we're gonna have a beautiful athletic center. We did that after COVID, when the price of wood, the price, anything was a big question mark. So we were able to present to the community and pass it, a 29 and change per capital project, right? We have completed the project. We're like 2 weeks away from completion. We have completed the $29 million and change project. Pretty much on time. It was not due to us. The 6 months delay was because of New York State didn't approve it on time. It was not our fault. We have completed all this beautiful project without impacting the education of the students, $2.5 million under, and maintaining the same debt service so there would be no fluctuation in the levy over the next 14 years. I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm very proud of. Let me give an applause.
I still have the question. I think it's great that you patted yourself
Unfortunately, I won't be
on
able
the
to
back right now, but that's not the question. The question is, 29 million, you came 2 million under, which I think is amazing during COVID, with all the stuff that went up. I don't know what the reason is where you cut, because material went up. It stated that we were going to get a bond of a debt rate of 1.5%. We came in well over double that, and yet we're still at $2.1 million. I'm asking where the other $2 million came from. You say bands. We had to pay for the bands somehow. I'm asking where that money came from.
The community approved us to spend up to 29, right?
No, I understand. Dr. Yanni, you know what? I will foil it so that I can get it in writing, if that's an easier way, because I'm just standing up here and we're going back and forth. I'll foil it to see where the money came from, and of the $29 million, what the accounting is and where it came from. I understand we get building aid, but building aid, we're at 8% building aid?
But $29 million was approved by the community.
Right.
Was approved by the community at the referendum.
Right.
It gave us permission to continue to use the debt service that we have every year of $2.1 million.
It approved, the $29 million bond referendum approved by the community was for you to do a set of projects for $29 million.
Correct.
And under the promise that our debt service in 14 years would not exceed the $2.1 million.
And it will not.
Okay, all honesty, if you did do the $29 million at 3.75, you would have almost doubled our debt service. So the question is, well, it wouldn't have been at 2.1 million, it would have been impossible. The question is, all I'm asking is for an accounting of it.
So
So
this is
I
like,
put you on the spot, I
no,
apologize.
it's every
So-
meeting, it's a spot, but this is like you leasing a car, right? So the debt service was 2.1 million. You're leasing a car, then that car has to go back to the dealer. So you go back, instead of getting a car that is worth 50,000, we got a car that is worth 100,000 with the same payment. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I'll ask for an accounting of it.
Okay.
I think,
mean,
yep, thank you.
I'm not sure whether this was an agenda item or not. Heather Nardoni? Excuse me? Non-agenda. Can you come forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ayani, for issuing written permission to attend this meeting, this public meeting. Please let the record reflect that no member of the public or taxpayer should ever be required to secure authorization from the superintendent or school board to enter public Board of Education meetings. This practice is an abuse of authority and a clear attempt to intimidate and deter participation protected by law. On April 23rd, the Board of Education held a special meeting where you rescinded all 5 hearing officers who had previously recused. Can the board explain why it described impartial hearing officer recusals as withdrawals when all 5 hearing officers recused? Can you explain why you certified minutes on April 23rd claiming this legal action occurred when it didn't? How does the board justify rescinding recusals? What immediate measures will this board take to correct fabrications and ensure that the official record is accurate, lawful, and free of deliberate distortions?
Thank you, Ms. Nardoni, for your comments. Thank you.
Well, they're questions.
This is public comment section. Thank you.
So when do I ask questions?
You can submit questions to the Board of Ed if you'd like.
I do. You list that I send about 76 emails, but you don't respond to them.
Thank you for your comments.
So when do I get my questions answered?
Ms. Nardoni, we were not able to answer the...
No, I'm talking to the board.
Okay.
Are you a board member?
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
You don't respond to my emails. I'm asking questions. But she told me to submit emails, right? But they don't respond to them. So what is my next step? You've restricted me from school property for no explanation why. You've used the Commissioner of Education's case law that doesn't refer to me.
Thank you for your comments. You can be seated. I'd now like to make a motion to return to the executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Do I have a motion? Second? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Evening,
nice
everybody.
evening.